Today we're going to be making the combat knife from Halo. These are the things you'll need: cardboard, hot glue, a box cutter, measuring tape, straight edge, pen, washers, super glue, spray paint, apple red acrylic paint, titanium white acrylic paint, paintbrush, masking tape, metal snap buttons, and black webbing. First, I started out by drawing the shape of the blade and handle onto a piece of Cinder box cardboard. They had to be two pieces just because this piece wasn't long enough for both. Then I cut it out with some scissors. And I used that to trace out the shape of the knife onto some thicker cardboard. And I did make the blade just a little smaller, just so that it'd be easier to make the edge of the blade later. I cut it out with box cutter. I did cut out two, just so I could make the edge of the blade later. I used that to trace out the shape of the blade onto some Cinder box cardboard. Cut that out with some scissors. And then I drew the shape of the fuller, which is the groove that's on the knife. And then I used a hole punch to make those ends nice and rounded. And I used an X-Acto knife to cut out the rest. Then I drew and cut out the cross guard. I did this twice, just so it'd be a little thicker, because I thought it would look a little better that way. And then I glue all the pieces together. The part that I cut out from the Cinder box cardboard and the two pieces from the thicker cardboard. Glued all those together, make sure everything was lined up. Then I wanted to make the handle just a bit thicker, so just cut out the handle out of some cardboard and glued those on. And I made the handle detail pieces off camera, just cut out from Cinder box cardboard. Use a hole punch to get those holes. I glued on the detail pieces for the blade. Then I glued the two crossguard pieces together and glued them onto the knife. And I made the edge of the blade using Cinder box cardboard, glued on at an angle, similar to how I made the edges of the Force Captain badges. Then I covered all the corrugation with some Cinder box cardboard, and I added a little detail to the pommel. I started making the sheath by first tracing out the shape of the blade on some thick cardboard, and then making a, I think like maybe half-inch border around that, because the sheath needs to be bigger than the blade. Then I cut that out. And I cut the middle out where the knife would go. And I used that to trace out the inside shape onto some thinner cardboard. And I cut that out and then made sure everything fit. Then I glued it on. I know it's counterintuitive to basically add a piece back in that you just cut off, but since the cardboard is thinner, I'll add a lip, so it's easier to add the walls of the sheath later. Okay, so I've done a few things off camera. First off, I covered this edge and the back with some Cinder box cardboard. I also covered the sides to cover up the perforations. That was just to make it look a little bit nicer and cleaner. And then I made this piece, which will go in there. It's pretty simple to make. I just traced out this piece of cardboard, covered both sides with Cinder box cardboard. Made sure to leave the printing stuff because it's nice and smooth, which will make it smoother to take in and out. That's why I kept all that in here, so yeah. Then I glued on that top piece using hot glue. I did leave the knife in the sheath, just so that the spacing would be correct. And I made that little box piece that's on the bottom of the sheath, just out of cardboard covered in Cinder box cardboard. And I super glued on some details, just cut out of some Cinder box cardboard. glued that onto the main sheath, covered up any gaps or perforations with some cigar box cardboard. Then I super glued on some washers just to give it a little more detail. Then to make I made a little strap to hold the knife in. Just got some black webbing. Just kind of measured out how much I would need to fit around the knife. Cut that out. Double check to make sure it would fit. Then I added snap buttons to it and glued it onto the sheath with hot glue. Then I did add some strapping to the back of the sheath, just so that if I needed to attach it to a costume or a belt or whatever, I could. Pretty simple, just made some loops with some webbing. Then I did a primer coat on both, flat gray primer. Then I masked off everything I didn't want to be black and painted it with black spray paint. I had to do a couple coats. Then using acrylic paint, I painted on some details to the sheath, like those red dots and the white triangle. For the triangle, I did use masking tape, just so I would have nice, clean, straight lines. It took multiple coats for both, just to get a nice, vibrant color. And then I masked off the handle of the knife and painted the blade, crossguard, and pommel silver. Some of the black paint did peel up with the masking tape. I did later fill those in with some black acrylic paint. I also did the same to the sheath because there's some parts on there that didn't get fully covered when I painted it. After that, it was done. Pretty happy with this. I think it turned out pretty well. The only thing is the black acrylic paint doesn't really match with the spray paint, but it's whatever. So yeah, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.